Thank you, Dan. Well, we have FA Cup football on Monday, a classic Premier League London derby on Sunday, the return of game day tomorrow, but we start our long weekend with two Championship playoff chasers. It's Reading against Preston Northend, exclusively live to national radio on your home of the EFL, that is Talksport 2. And Preston about to get us underway. The Medeski is probably about half full, and Preston all in bright yellow, their change kit. They will play from right to left towards the Eamon Dolan stand, a point off the playoffs at the start of the night. Preston, Reading 3 points off the top 6. Reading in their familiar blue and white hooped shirts, white shorts and blue socks. They will play from left to right towards the south stand that is shared between home and away supporters. A big bank of Reading fans on the far side of that stand behind the goal. And immediately, Preston knock it straight out of play. A careless pass cross-field from Ryan Ledson. And it's a Reading throw in their right wing-back position. Let me give you the two sides. Reading have Lumley in goal, Yeardham, Holmes and McIntyre the defenders, Hoylett and Rackman the wing-backs, Hendrick and Loom in midfield, Ince behind Maytay and Carroll. And for Preston Northend, the goalkeeper is Freddie Woodman. Story, Lindsay and Hughes are the centre-halves. Potts and Brady are the two wing-backs. Ledson, Johnson and Brown in midfield, with Evans and Rees the two up front. It is, well look, is it relatively chilly, Sam Parkin? I've got my thermal trousers on, so maybe I'm not best placed to judge.
It's getting chilly, isn't it? It's certainly colder than it was. I've gone thermal socks as well, Joe, so we're in the same boat, my friend. We've both gone a little bit premature.
Well, it's 0-0 in the very early stages. On Talksport 2, we'll keep you up to date with the two FA Cup ties tonight as well. Sheffield Wednesday against Morecambe and Hereford against Portsmouth. That particularly poignant tonight after the death of a Hereford great and an FA Cup great, Ronnie Radford, earlier this week. The ball is bouncing around in the middle of the Reading half. Now it's hooked up to the halfway line of the giant Andy Carroll, still going strong even at 33. Feels like he's been around for a lot longer than that. It's played towards Hendrick on the far side, the Reading left, but shepherded out of play with ease by Jordan Story. And Preston have a throw that Brad Potts, who scored the winner in their victory over Swansea on Tuesday night, will take. A very quick turnaround for both sides. Reading also played on Tuesday evening at Luton. That ended in a goalless draw. Reading's form has been patchy of late, 1 win in 7. That's seen them fall out of the playoffs. Preston, though, looking for 3 straight league wins for the first time since April and May of last season. Well, good noise from the supporters away to the right. The Preston fans, several hundred who've travelled, and looks like 2,000 or so Reading supporters not too far away from them, as the ball is hoisted up into the air by Potts, high downfield, and it should be cleared away by Reading with relative ease. It is by Loom up towards the halfway line, beneath the floodlights here. Carroll holds it up on halfway, between 3 in yellow. Now it's poked forward towards Maytay by Hendrick, cleared away by Lindsay this time, and it's a Reading throw far side there left, just over the halfway line, 0-0, and here's the former Swindon striker Sam Parker.
Yeah, good start from Reading, terrific feat from Andy Carroll there, just manipulated the ball away from a couple of Preston players who were closing with real intensity. Unfortunately, Jeff Hendrick's pass just down the side was intercepted, but the home side starting a little bit more aggressively.
Here comes Andy Yeardham for Reading, just shy of halfway, the club captain these days, playing at the right of the 3 centre-halves. Injuries to central defenders have been a big problem for Reading so far this season. The likes of Sam Hutchinson, Naby Sarr, Liam Moore and Scott Dan are all still out. But Tom McIntyre's return from a neck injury to start the game, you feel, is a big boost for them tonight, Sam.
Yeah, definitely, Joe. I think him and Holmes have turned into really dependable performers for Reading, not only over Paul Ince's tenure, but previously as well. Been very impressed with those two guys and made themselves big players, I think, for the club. So important to have McIntyre back, especially considering I just gazed down actually towards the director's box a few moments ago, and I think I could definitely pick out Scott Dan and probably 1 or 2 other defenders. So they're really stretched in that department. They can't afford any more injuries, but those two in unison should give them an opportunity to get a hold of what is a good looking Preston attack tonight, I will say. That said, the proof has not been there in the numbers. They've not been creative enough, not been scoring enough goals. That burden, the creative burden, is going to fall on Daniel Johnson's shoulders tonight, and big night for him considering his lack of playing time recently.
The ball is bouncing in the middle of the Preston half. It's knocked back to the goalkeeper by Liam Lindsay and then hammered downfield by Freddie Woodman, who joined in the summer on a permanent contract from Newcastle. Started his Preston Northend career with 7 consecutive championship clean sheets, a remarkable feat. Preston Northend have largely been outstanding defensively this season, and they have a throw, and the right-sided centre-half Story will take it. He's been very good this season as well. In fact, spent the second half of last season out on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. Looked like he'd been frozen out, but Ryan Lowe, who is in his first season as boss, first full season, and brought him back into the side, and it's been working really well. Lindsay with a long sleeve yellow shirt on, clips the ball up the middle. It's well controlled by Ched Evans, the number 9, lays it back to Brown, the captain. Now on the near side, the left is Brady, shuffled high down the left, further forward by the defender Andrew Hughes, but it's all the way through to the Reading goalkeeper on loan from Middlesbrough, Joe Lumley. 5 minutes gone on the Friday night football on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2, and it's Reading 0, Preston Northend 0. We've got game day back tomorrow. 2 commentaries on Talksport. Sheffield United against Burnley from the Championship, followed by Manchester City against Fulham at 3, and then on Sunday midday, Chelsea against Arsenal on Talksport, live and exclusive. Here is Potts in field to Emil Rees, who is so often the attacking danger man for Preston Northend. His ball back to halfway, and Story will shepherd it to the feet of the goalkeeper once again. Woodman will clear upfield, hide up into that dark night sky, headed away by Baba Rahman in the left back position these days for Reading. Now Hughes up to halfway, and Ledson on the ball, the former Oxford man, strokes it to the left hand side for Preston Northend, and it's a ball forward by Andrew Hughes to find Daniel Johnson, one of 2 players brought into the Preston Northend side tonight. No Ben Whiteman. In fact, to give you the 2 subs benches now, Reading, Bouzanis the goalkeeper, Long, Forner, Guinness, Walker, Zhao and Benge and Ejaria, and for Preston, Cornell, Fernandez, Cunningham, McCann, Woodburn, Diaby and Sean Maguire. Quiet start to the game. Preston have probably had more of the ball. Sweeping pass from Brown from the halfway line out towards the right-hand channel where Brad Potts was waiting for it, but Reading deal with it effectively enough. Baba Rahman with the pass infield to the halfway line, and Hendrick. Good turn away from 2 in yellow by Hendrick, who looked to thread it further forward where Baba Rahman had continued his run, hugging that touchline. But again, Story is across, and back it goes to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, they look incredibly organised. We anticipated that. Reading's goalkeeper is going to kick Joe Lumley. We've seen that already. I think likewise Freddie Woodman at the other end, so they're not going to be adverse to going back to front quickly. I think the Preston defenders are going to want to go and compete, all 3 of them, with Andy Carroll. Therefore it's about matching runs. The likes of Hendrick, Mate of course, and Tommins will look to dart in beyond Andy Carroll, but Preston have that strength in Story and Lindsay to go and compete with Andy Carroll. So I think those midfield players, the ones that are back in, Brown and Johnson and Ledson, they have to match the run of the midfield players to make sure that Reading don't get in back to front.
That driven long ball from Ledson goes straight through to the Reading goalkeeper, and Reading can build from those defensive positions again. Paul Ince patrolling the touchline, his assistant Alex Ray just to his left. Here come Reading on the attack. Hendrick run down the inside left channel, evaded Potts, plays it back to Baba Rahman. His cross takes a big deflection, and Woodman can't prevent it going behind for a corner away to the right at the south end of the ground, right by, as I say, a huge mass of Reading supporters who've gathered behind that goal and are certainly creating most of the atmosphere here at the Select Car Leasing Stadium so far.
Yeah, it's been bright, Hendrick, hasn't he? A couple of really powerful runs in beyond Preston, fed on that occasion, down the left-hand channel, and wins his team the corner. We've not said Tom Ince's name yet, I don't think. He's been really quiet in the opening 8.5 minutes.
And plenty of aerial ability in this Reading side as Junior Hoylett goes across to take the corner. The far side of the field, it'll be whipped in towards the near post. A poor delivery headed away by Robbie Brady with the yellow boots on. Comes out to Baba Rahman midway inside the Preston Northend half, beaten to it by a firm but fair tackle from Brady, who raced out to continue his defensive duties. We were saying before the game Robbie Brady, 30 years old. It feels like he's been around for a decade longer than that, Sam. The evergreen Robbie Brady.
It does, yeah. When he made the move, just thinking, just coming towards the tail end, just dropping down. A couple of seasons, probably see him in League One, League Two, but he's got plenty of years ahead of him and got a big role in this team. We know how much Ryan Lowe loves this shape, and you need two very, very willing runners, I think, at wing back, and obviously he's getting heart and soul, I think, from Robbie Brady and Brad Potts, who's doing a stellar job that I've already spoken of over on the right hand side, chipping in with a few important goals as well.
He's just getting some instructions from his manager Ryan Lowe. Hands in pockets, the Liverpudlian a long way down below us. We're high at the back of the main stand, almost the very back row, just to the right of the halfway line. A bird's eye view of the action down below us. There's Potts with a thundering clearance upfield, headed away by McIntyre. Good cushion header, well controlled by Baba Rahman, who had to stretch to keep the ball in play on the halfway line. He's still at Chelsea, would you believe it? It's his second consecutive loan season at Reading. He's only made 11 Premier League starts at Chelsea since joining the club in 2015, and I don't think there will be many more. Reading with Yedem over the halfway line, ball to Mate. Mate holds it up neatly, finds Hoylett, skips the ball away from Brady with a flick over his ankle, but then he can't get past Brown. Brown darts away from Loom, moves into Reading territory, pings the ball low along the ground, looking for the run of Potts from deep, intercepted by McIntyre, who then gives it away. Hendrick couldn't reach the pass. Reading nil, Preston Northend nil. Evans chips the ball high up towards Rees, overhit through to Joe Lumley, and both sides just lacking quality at times in the first 11 minutes, Sam Parker.
Yeah, it's a terrific run from Brad Potts over on the right hand side, in between Rahman and McIntyre, I think it was. Alan Brown just didn't see it in time. He played the pass eventually, but the space had been shut off, if you like, and Reading were able to defend the situation quite comfortably. But yeah, just breaking down for both sides. And again, you know, Tom Ince is moving around. He just found himself right on the touchline on this near side, but unable to be fed the ball in the opening 11 minutes of this game, so they need to try and find a way to get him into the proceedings.
Rahman's trying to float a pass through the middle towards Yaku Mate. Preston get it away, but Tom Ince is first to the second ball, the Reading number 10. First time we really mentioned his name in the game. Here is Yedon, right of centre, swinging an early cross, and Mate with a looping header from the edge of the penalty area. It's going to be almost impossible for the Burley striker, who's a great technician, to score from that sort of range, and it trickled well wide, and it's a goal kick to Preston Northend, 0-0.
17 yards out or so when he makes contact with a header. You're never going to score from there. There's no real pace on the delivery either. Tom Ince is doing my analysis for me. Take it on your chest there. There's no one around him. Just needed to take it into the body. They had players in promising positions there. He wouldn't have been able to link with one of his teammates. Instead, just lets Preston off the hook.
You must have scored a few long-range headers. Maybe not quite that far out there.
I did, but you need it almost to be a shot coming into the 18-yard box.
And then
you know
hit your head and go back
exactly. Where you're just directing it there. Mate's having to put the pace on the attempt as well. So it was a poor decision. Having that bit of awareness to take it on your chest there could have ended in a good shooting opportunity for Reading.
Well, Brady's down injured here for Preston Northend, lying on his back near side touchline, actually right in front of Paul Ince, the Reading boss, who, look, credit to him, it was a shock appointment really in February, initially on an interim basis, and guided Reading to safety, and then was given the job permanently over the summer. Everybody expected Reading to struggle, but they're 3 points off the playoffs at the start of the night. Of course, I mentioned it earlier before we began commentary, but Reading would need to win with a 10-goal swing to make it into the top six tonight, ahead of the rest of the weekend's fixtures. And Preston just a point outside the playoffs at the beginning of the evening. And Brady is back on his feet, and Reading have a free kick 15 yards or so shy of the halfway line, and it's the goalkeeper Lumley, all in red, who's going to take it. Reading playing from left to right. A couple of big electronic screens in a couple of corners of the ground, spelling out the score and the time. Long from Lumley, high downfield. Carroll jumping, good header away, that by Story. Firm and good distance on it, up towards the halfway line. Preston Northend recycle possession. It's back to Story via Potts. Story lofts that ball over halfway. That's not a good pass. And again, carelessly given away, and both sides have conceded possession cheaply on more than one occasion actually so far in the game. Swept cross-field by Holmes, the Reading centre-half. Yeardham cleverly touches it over halfway to Mate. Back to Ince. Ince with a high ball. Hit down the right. Well controlled by Hoylett. Blocked off by Andrew Hughes, who did get a touch on the ball. Some of the Reading fans at the foot of this three-tiered West Stand wanted a free kick, but the referee was never likely to give one.
Difficult ball to control, really. Slung out, wasn't it? Kind of a bit of spin on it. Plenty of loft coming out of the sky for Hoylett to try and bring under his control and then potentially deliver, but just showed too much of the ball to Hughes, who makes a good challenge.
Yeardham with the orange boots on, looking to set up Mate down by the dead ball line. Hoylett takes over. Mate goes down as though he's hurt. He's still on his knees, back up on his feet as Ince crosses left-footed, takes a touch off two Preston players. Ledson with the initial header, and it just cannoned into the back of Hughes, almost like what we were talking about a few moments ago, Sam Parkin, in a fortunate corner for Reading, but one that they won't mind having with a quarter of an hour gone and the score still 0-0.
Yeah, an opportunity for Tom Ince to get that left foot smashing some balls across the 18-yard box. That was a good situation for him. He'd be disappointed with that. He hit the first man, perfect to just arc that ball into the 6-yard box where Andy Carroll was arriving.
You're listening to Talksport 2. Ince is calling for runners from the corner. It'll be a left-footed, in-swinging delivery in front of that single-tiered south stand. Whipped into the 6-yard box, headed away bravely by Story, I think, who got the final touch. Rees was there as well from a defensive perspective for Preston Northend, but Reading will have a third corner of the match, and it's the home side who look the more likely. Neither goalkeeper's been tested just yet, though. Now, the atmosphere is good. It is a ground that has been criticised for being quiet on occasion, but as I say, those Reading fans behind the goal that we're looking to in Steve Coppell's corner, there's a big banner near the section, are really cranking up the noise, and it's Hoylett with the delivery this time. In swinging, high towards Carroll at the back post, won the initial header. Preston only half clear. Loom jumping on the edge of the box for Reading, and Carroll on the volley over the top. Well, he is capable of spectacular goals. We've seen that in his career. Converged upon by 3 yellow shirts, edge of the penalty area, and sent it skywards and over the bar.
Yeah, he's always looking to take that type of opportunity on the volley, not deterred by the distance or the difficulty factor way off the target there. But that's going to be an interesting battle, him and Liam Lindsay, and also how Preston deal with that second ball. He knocked it down into a good position there, but on that occasion every Preston player touched tight with their marker, making sure that Andy Carroll wasn't able to supply a teammate.
Reading had possession, Preston Northend rather, with Alan Brown. Rolls the ball back to his goalkeeper from the edge of his own penalty area, and now his Story, far side the right, pumps the ball high downfield, up the middle towards Evans. Evans jumps with Holmes, the loose ball drops for Daniel Johnson for Preston, and now here's Brady, inside left channel, near side of the field, pushes it forward 10 yards towards Rees. Rees's touch is heavy, and that takes the ball straight out of play, and neither he nor Ched Evans has had a glimmer of goal so far. Emil Rees, who hit 21 goals across all competitions last season and is starting to find his scoring streak again. Preston have not scored many, but he has managed 5, which makes him their top scorer so far. A throw by Yeardham high towards the halfway line. Hughes wins the header, nods it down, and McIntyre is there to pick up the loose ball for Reading. He takes a very heavy touch, and that allows the ball to ricochet out to the Preston Northend right, where it's picked up by Potts. Potts there with the edge of the 18-yard box, low cross towards Rees on the edge of the D, smuggled away from under his feet by Yeardham, recycled by Ledson, back out wide to Potts. He's got a big bandage on his right lower forearm. And now here is Hughes, lip of the centre circle, and Preston Northend keeping possession impressively. It's still 0-0. High ball downfield by Brady, headed away by Holmes this time. Yeardham touches it forward, just a simple ball to Mamadou Loom, who is back tonight after a 1-game ban. And now Yeardham darting forward up towards the halfway line. Again a long high pass up towards Mate, over his head and through to the goalkeeper. A lot of long balls from both sides so far. Have Reading... Well, the referees certainly stopped the game. Have Reading won themselves a free kick? No, I don't think they have. Mate had just gone down. The referee just wanted to take a check on his condition, and he'll give the ball straight back to Freddie Woodman, the goalkeeper. But I was saying, Sam Parkin, a lot of long high balls from both sides so far, and when you look at the 3 centre halves, it could be a difficult night for both sets of strikers.
Yeah, I've been thinking along the same lines. Reading have obviously had a little bit more movement, I would say, probably in beyond the opponent's back line. Jeff Hendrick, Tom Ince in the last few minutes, and obviously caused a few set pieces. Preston's difficulty is connecting the midfield and the front right now. I think they've got really mobile forward players, but therefore they kind of stretch the pitch. They're never really together, and at the moment the three central defenders of Reading are certainly winning that battle. It's up to Daniel Johnson as well to be really creative and thoughtful with his movement and try and get receipt of the ball in dangerous positions. But no surprise really that a lot of direct balls. Reading the least average possession in the league. They're going to go back to front. Both goalkeepers kicking. It's probably going to be fine margins tonight. I'll go out and say that already.
That's the voice of the former EFL striker Sam Parkin, played for Swindon, Ipswich, Wycombe Wanderers, among others. And goalless with 20 minutes gone. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Morecambe 0 in the first round of the FA Cup at Hillsborough. Josh Windass has got that goal. It kicks off at about 10-8, and they're underway at Hereford FC, goalless with Portsmouth of League One. The National League side holding their own. Flicked by Mate into the penalty area, but the offside flag is up, and the referee will allow Preston Northend to play advantage and come away with possession. Brady, near side, left wing back position, rolls it to the feet of Hughes, and square ball now to Liam Lindsay. Lindsay 6'4" at the middle of that Preston back three. On to Brown. Brown turns away from Ince and glides up towards the halfway line. Brady's pass infield to Johnson. Little touch back to Brady. Didn't want it there. Had to sprint to retrieve possession. And Preston Northend had to go all the way back to the edge of their own 18-yard box. It's Reading's last home game this before the break for the World Cup. And of course every game of Qatar 2022 will be live on the Talksport network. All 64 matches. And Preston, before their international break, and face Millwall at Deepdale next Saturday, and played one game more than Reading coming into this evening, and one game more than most of the rest of the teams in the Championship. Haven't seen a clear-cut chance just yet, but we do have a goal at Hereford in the FA Cup. Hereford 1, Portsmouth 0. Miles Storey has got the goal, and what a memorable night this could be for Hereford. I mentioned the very sad passing of Ronnie Radford, an FA Cup and a Hereford legend earlier this week, but I'm sure all sorts of tributes are being paid, and on the field the current crop of Hereford players doing a fine job. And Portsmouth, well, a long way still to go in that game, but Portsmouth of League One behind the team from the National League North.
Ex-Pompey player Miles Storey.
Well, that is a big story.
You can have that, Joe, for free.
It was somebody had to say it, didn't they? And you were looking at me, so here is...
And Swindon.
Lou on the halfway line, absolutely. Well, he certainly will be, having scored that goal as Carroll slides in on Brady. Preston Northend smuggle it clear up to the halfway line, well held up by the big striker Evans, the number 9. And now Brown steering the ball into the feet of Potts. Potts trots over halfway. There's a Canadian flag, red and white, that's been unfurled in the front row of the Sir John Medeski stand on the far side of the field. Of course, Junior Hoylett of Reading is a Canada international who'll be away with them for the World Cup. And Preston Northend trying to come forward on the attack, but Reading have lots of blue and white shirts behind the ball, and Babarakman is there having a good game to intercept. Now Ince over the halfway line. Slide tackle from behind by Brady. A risky challenge. The referee is going to bring out the yellow card. Well, he had to. Or do you not think so, Sam Parker?
I don't want to go down the route of saying this is his first challenge, but yeah, I think given the situation, Joe, that was the first time that a team had been caught out a little bit disjointed, bit of a transition, Reading into attack, and looked to have some nice space to run into, so I can understand the referee deeming that quite a cynical foul from Robbie Brady.
Here is Ince, son of the manager Paul, trying to dart down the right-hand channel. It's cleared away by Johnson. The throw goes Reading's way, and Johnson fuming at the assistants, raging and flinging his arm up into the air.
Same two players, that would have been a interesting decision if the referee given that as well, just straight after the first offence.
David Webb is the referee. Holmes has the ball on the halfway line for Reading. It's Reading 0, Preston Northend 0 on Talksport 2. Talking of the FA Cup, we have a brilliant tie for you on Monday night, not far from here actually, elsewhere in Berkshire. Bracknell against Ipswich in the first round of the FA Cup Monday night at 7:45. Here is Loom for Reading in the centre circle. Into the 25th minute of this game. Baba Rackman inside left channel, hugging the touchline on the far side is the very experienced Hendrick. Steers the ball back in field to the corner of the penalty area where Mate had made a good run. Back out wide to Hendrick again, couple of step overs. He's being tracked all the way by Ledson. Hendrick in field this time to the spin and the turn of Rackman. Back to Hendrick, corner of the box. Reading trying to pass and probe their way through. No way through as yet. Low ball steered into the near post by towards the feet of Rackman, and Mate darts down the left now towards the dead ball line. Is blocked off by Potts. It spins out of play, and I think that will be a throw for Reading right by the corner flag. We can hear the noise now at the Medeski, or the Select Car Leasing Stadium as it's known these days. It's starting to really crank up again. I think Reading fans are encouraged by their performance. McIntyre, the centre half forward in the penalty area, is back to goal. Lays it back to Baba Rackman, whose cross is blocked, and it's steered high up into the air, up into the dark night sky by Rees. Thundered forward on the volley by Holmes. The ball sent even higher. Can somebody bring it down, please? Baba Rackman dispossessed. And Preston have it back with Brown, who is a cultured footballer. Sets up Johnson, charge over the halfway line. They've got men over here, Preston Northend. They work it right to the right-hand channel, and it's crossed early, very early by Ched Evans, who would have wanted to be in the penalty area to receive that sort of ball. Reading counter. Carroll knocks it long. Out comes Woodman, the goalkeeper, to clear for Preston Northend. It's a little bit like pinball at times, both sides giving it away with increasing regularity. And it is still 0-0, but the tempo's maybe just gone up in the last few minutes, Sam Parker.
Yeah, that was Preston's first opportunity. We've Reading out of their shape. I mean, we're 25 minutes in and kind of on the counter-attack. Either side had one opportunity, really. That's how defensively sound both sides look, and so unlikely to get drawn out of position, if you like. So it's been a really tight opening to this game. Obviously very few chances, if any. Reading looking to work the ball into wide areas. That's obvious from the moment they get into the final third, trying to supply Andy Carroll.
Jordan Storey 30 yards out, right of centre, wide to Potts. Potts with a cross. It's blocked by the head of Baba Rackman bravely, and Storey facing the halfway line. Feeds Potts again, back in field to Storey once more. Out wide to Potts, who scored the winner against Swansea in midweek, and Preston Northend kept their customary clean sheet, their 11th in 19 league games so far this season. And Reading also kept a clean sheet on Tuesday, and Paul Ince was really pleased with how they battled away at Luton. Hereford 1, Portsmouth 1 in the FA Cup. Rico Hackett-Fairchild has got that goal. So Portsmouth were not behind for long to the National League North side. Forward by Hughes, inside left channel for Preston. Reese into the penalty area, pulls it back across. It takes a big deflection, could fall to the edge of the box, and a very calm backheader. Cultured, cushioned by Jeff Hendrick into the gloves of his goalkeeper. Knew exactly what he was doing, racing towards his own goal on the edge of the penalty area, and the chance is gone.
Yeah, what Emil Rees gives them, really, Joe, there, a little bit of power down the side, the mobility to run beyond, not always show to feet, and that's the first time he's had the opportunity to showcase that. Gets the ball in, but the deflection at source takes it into Jeff Hendrick, and really calm, assured defending from the midfielder.
Towering header away by Ledson with the black boots on, as we welcome listeners from Talksport to the Select Car Leasing Stadium live here, where it's Reading 0, Preston Northend 0, and a game of very few chances so far. Sam Parkin, the former Swindon striker, alongside me, as Reading win a free kick dead centre in the middle of the Preston half. Yeah,
Reading the better side. Joe, they're probing, aren't they, in the final third, trying to get it into the wide positions to obviously deliver some quality for Andy Carroll, but the problem is Preston have been so good, so watertight throughout this season. Three big physical centre-halves who are going to really enjoy that battle against Andy Carroll, so it's whether he can knock it down and supply some of the midfielders who are going to look to break beyond him.
Well, both sides are knocking on the door of the playoffs. 29 minutes gone. Still goalless under the floodlights here in Berkshire. This free kick for Reading is dead centre. Very little angle for Tom Ince, son of the manager Paul, to work with. Whips it in high left-footed up towards Tom Holmes, the centre-half, who tried to nod it back across. Preston smuggled the ball clear out to the near side of the field, and it is 0-0 on Talksport 2. Remember, the best way to follow all the action is to download the Talksport app. That'll be particularly useful in the World Cup. Yeardham looking to tease it back from the right-hand side for Reading. Intercepted by Brown, and Brown will dart up to the halfway line. It's still Reading 0, Preston Northend 0. And Preston have a throw on halfway. Well, Reading's home form has been good, no doubt about it. They have won 6 of their 9 matches so far. Only 2 sides, Millwall and Blackburn, have won more in the league at home this season coming into the weekend. And they look a long way away from the side of last season, which was ragged and disjointed and only narrowly avoided relegation. Albeit they did have a points deduction. Here's Andrew Hughes for Preston Northend. Ball in field to his centre defensive colleague Lindsay, and now Story just shy of the halfway line, encouraged to drift forward, which he does, into opposition territory. Nobody in blue and white really going anywhere near him. Story square back to the left, and here is Brady right on the touchline. Ball in field, and he gets the return from Brown. Very nicely done from Brown. Story and Brady with a great cross, and it very nearly fell to the far post, and it did fall to the far post, and Potts, who was racing in to meet it on the volley. He's scored great goals from that sort of position before, but this time he got virtually nothing on it. It's gone behind for a goal kick, and a big chance wasted for Preston Northend.
Brilliant play down on the near side. We've got individual battles all over the pitch, same shape, same systems, both teams, and Robbie Brady's just too cute there for Junior Hoylett. Little give and go, nice and sharp, and the ball, it doesn't get better than that. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Takes out the whole Reading back 5, if you like, and Potts is arriving perfectly. Possibly sees it late. He should get a contact on the ball and steer it goalwards. Maybe even dive it full length and get your head on it. That gives you the security really of getting the purchase on the ball, but best chance of the game by a distance.
Half time in the FA Cup in the 10-8 kick-off. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Morecambe 0. Little touch by Rees, tries to make the layoff for Hughes. It's intercepted though by Loon. The layoff wasn't great, and Loon had a relatively simple task. Knocks it out wide to the near side of the field now, and Ince glides quickly over the halfway line. He's fleet-footed when he's in possession, and a couple of step-overs away from Brown. Brown, though, watching him all the way. Ince, that's a great crossfield ball. From right to left to the far side, and Baba Rackman driving forward to the edge of the penalty area, swinging in the cross, hit it away by Lindsay at the heart of the Preston back line. And then a shove in the back by McIntyre on Evans. Preston have a free kick midway inside their own half the field, and well, you can almost count the touches on the 2 hands that both goalkeepers have had so far tonight, Sam. They have hardly been overworked.
Loads of space there for Baba Rackman on the far side. Brilliant technical play down on the near touchline from Tom Ince. Great change of play, but it almost feels like Preston are just retreating a little bit and almost allowing that delivery to come in, because they know that they're pretty competent at going and attacking the aerial ball. So it's a night to be a bit cuter, I think. If they can get into the final third, to the byline, vary that delivery. It can't always just be clipped up, dug out for Andy Carroll. They're gonna deal with that 9 times out of 10, I would suggest. So cutbacks, midfielders going to have to arrive and be really positive with their movement.
Little backheel from Brady to find Hughes, who looked to race into the penalty area, tried to take it in his stride. His first touch was heavy. That allowed for Loom to thunder the ball out of play into this main stand, and Preston have a throw midway into opposition territory, and Brady, hands on hips, will take it. When you come into the press area at Reading, all you can see is photographs from their Premier League days, quite a long time ago now, having been relegated from the top flight in 2013. Had a couple of seasons in the Premier League before that, 2006 to 2008, but it does feel a rather distant dream. Though that being said, Paul Ince has done a very effective job so far this season. I think it's fair to say, Sam, a much better job than I think a lot of people were realistically expecting.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be lying if I said I thought it was going to work out.
mainly because he'd been out of the game for so long.
Yeah, of course, and maybe that's a little bit snobbery on my behalf, and maybe a lot of other people who probably thought along a similar line. Well, I know they did. You only have to think back, and they probably thought it was going to end up the same way as it's ended for Steve Bruce, unfortunately for him recently, but he's done a pretty good job under the circumstances. Whether they can maintain it, that's the next challenge, I suppose, isn't it? When they get some more mainstays of this squad back, some more big defensive players, can they rediscover the form of Lucas João of a couple of seasons ago as well? That's a big question. If they can do that, then I can certainly see them having a really successful campaign.
Yeadham has given it away. Evans not quite quick enough on the uptake though, and Reading have it back, and now a little pocket of space for Ince as he races over the halfway line. Sweeping ball towards the right, headed clear by Brady. Both sides playing with exactly the same shape, both cancelling each other out so far. 0-0. Cross from Loom up towards Mate, headed away by Lindsay, and the central defenders of both sides have been absolutely dominant up to this point. It is an interesting watch in that sense here live on Talksport 2, with just over 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining in the first half, because at the moment neither team looks like they're going to blink tactically, Sam.
Absolutely, and it may come a point where that has to happen, whether it's putting an additional body into the midfield or changing the formation entirely to try and turn 1 point into 3. At the moment, you spot on, individual battles everywhere, nobody willing to come out of their shape. Reading don't really have someone to get the ball into. We've hardly said Mate's name. I would say from the opening couple of minutes, he needs to become more impactful in this game. Otherwise, it's just going to meander, isn't it, towards half-time before one of the managers blinks.
Well, Johnson tried a slide rule pass inside left channel towards Evans. He made a great run into the box. It was well intercepted by Tom Holmes. Again, defence is on top. And here's Tom McIntyre, long-sleeve shirt on, darts away from 2 in yellow on the halfway line. Actually caught Daniel Johnson, but the referee waves play on. And then Loom dispossessed by a slide tackle from Evans, who might have hurt himself making that challenge. He's now back on his feet, and Reading play on with Yeadham near side their right. Infield is out to his angle rather is Hoylett, further wide. Back infield goes the pass to Loom. A dominant midfield presence, and Loom, very tall man, back to halfway, and Holmes once again. It's been very even throughout this match. There's been really nothing to separate the two teams. Reading fans still making noise behind the goal. McIntyre darting forward up to the edge of the penalty area, trying to flick it forward, comes to Ince, and now Carroll, edge of the box, yellow shirts in front of him, they get it away. Hughes with the clearance, it's come back to Ince once more, corner of the 18-yard box, Hoylett in field, Yeadham making the run on the overlap, back in field to Hoylett it goes, Hoylett onto his left foot, curls one, and it's wide of goal.
It's the right decision, nice little bit of space opened up, it wasn't closed particularly quickly by the Preston players. Well found by Tom Ince. I think he recognised there the pace was on the pass into Hoylett. The quick touch and finish was certainly on. He just couldn't find the curl on the ball more than anything. He kind of struck through it and it missed the angle of post and bar by quite a distance. But better, I think it comes from Holmes stepping out with the ball and being a bit more positive, taking Preston players out of the game, and therefore you get a little bit more of an overload and opportunity for that shooting chance. It's been too safe from both sides so far, both probably quite content, that said, to be 0-0 at this stage and possibly take a few more risks towards the end of this game if it stays as a stalemate.
Yeah, a long way to go on the Friday night football. We are back for more championship action over on Talksport tomorrow lunchtime. Sheffield United against Burnley, third against top. Here's Brady for Preston infield, and now Brown with a curling effort. It's blocked by McIntyre after a layoff to him from Emil Rees, and now Ince is bursting over the halfway line. He's away from Brown and away from Lindsay too, but helping out his defensive colleagues was Ryan Ledson, very industrious in midfield to quickly snapple it up and win it back for Preston. Almost an air of quick nonchalance about that challenge. He knew he was going to make it, he knew he was going to win it back, and that's part of the reason why Preston have been so effective, at least in large part defensively this year. Ryan Lowe has said, look, it's not just about the goalkeeper in the back three, it's the players in front of them as well. And Evans has laid it out to Johnson, right of centre, midway into the Reading half. And it's Potts on the overlap, back into the feet of Johnson again. Johnson lays it square, and Ledson forward to Potts, back to Ledson, heavy touch from within shooting range, and Ince has got to it again. Ince has had a couple of runs forward in the last few minutes or so, but both sides looking quite flat and uninspired in attack. Ince on the diagonal, high raking ball over towards Baba Ratman, only half headed away by Potts, and Ratman picks up possession. Hendrick to his left, goes with the pass infield to the centre, and Mate finds Loom, and Loom, first time right footed, knocks it straight out of play, and really, you have to say, that sums up the first half from a creative perspective, certainly.
Zero pressure on the midfield player Loom there as well when he plays out. Just need to take a touch and be sure with that pass. It wasn't an attack that was building with real pace. They had controlled possession, just needed to be sure when he was shifting it out to the wide man. A couple of occasions Tom Ince has had the ball and had an opportunity to counter-attack. Unfortunately, he was closed down and he turned towards Andy Carroll. He's not going to have the legs to get him beyond. Had he turned the opposite direction, Mate was screaming for the ball into the inside right channel, but Tom Ince couldn't see that pass, he couldn't play that pass, and the attack comes to nothing.
And Paul Ince, the Reading boss, was so frustrated about that. Spent the entire game watching from the edge of his technical area. Alex Ray just to his left. Fouled by Carroll on Hughes as he sprinted into Reading territory with the ball, and a Preston Northend free kick near side their left, and 20 yards, 25 yards into opposition territory, and I think they will take the chance here to send the likes of Story and Lindsay up from the back, and Hughes is joining them as well. In a game of very few chances, when you've got somebody with a left foot like Robbie Brady over the ball, you might as well pack the edge of the box with the yellow shirts. Reading have brought almost everybody back to defend it. Only Ince has been left upfield, and Hoylett, who is the one man in the wall. Left wing position, this free kick. Brady to whip it in high up to the centre of the penalty area, headed away, and Hoylett will flick it further clear up to halfway. Ince not going to get anywhere near that. A covering pass from Ledson back to the goalkeeper Woodman. And Woodman drills the clearance long. It's intercepted by Baba Ratman, and then Story reaches the second ball for Preston Northend. So often, both sides have struggled to put passes together, particularly in the final third, and ball is being given away with regularity. Johnson is in the Reading half, and he's fouled by Lou. 10 yards or so into opposition territory, they take a quick free kick to the visitors. It's Reading 0, Preston Northend 0. And Potts infield from the right, back to Lindsay. Lindsay shy of the halfway line. It's a strange one, Sam Parkin, because look, in many ways it has been a poor game, particularly when you look at both sides on the ball, but from a tactical perspective it is quite interesting. Completely agree.
We always have, we have a brilliant vantage point here as well at Reading, so you get a great look at the tactical setups of both sides, and I admire Ryan Lowe and Preston for just how well coached they look in this system. That said, it's so unlike what Ryan Lowe has stood for previously, in terms of the way that he likes to attack, so something doesn't add up there, and I'm sure this isn't exactly how Ryan Lowe wants it to look, but at the moment they just don't look like they're going to concede any chances at all. It's up for Reading as the home side, and probably more in need of the points, I would say, given their recent run to breach them.
As Potts crosses from the right, headed away by Yeardham. They played some good football in the build-up there, Preston. The flick header away by Hendrick. We've got 3 minutes of normal time plus stoppage time to go. Deep cross high to the far post by Ledson. It's over the head of Rees and out of play for a goal kick. Hoylett's gone down, and I wonder whether the referee will call for the physio here. No, doesn't need to. Helped up by Yeardham. Half-time in the FA Cup at Hereford. Hereford 1, Portsmouth 1. Miles Story, the former Pompey player, gave Hereford a lead with a famous goal, but Portsmouth quickly equalised and the scores level at half-time. Ryan Lowe pacing up and down in his technical area now, his dark jacket on and his trainers. As Sam said, he a former Plymouth and Bury manager, and he was a prolific striker in his playing days. Cleared away by Lindsay upfield for Preston. Chested down, cushioned by Evans into the feet of Johnson. But Holmes is quickly across to win it back for Reading. Neither side have got much time on the ball in the attacking third. And Reading have a throw 10 yards into the Preston half. One or two Reading fans heading to the concourse areas ahead of half-time. I don't think we're going to see much stoppage time in the first half. Babarakman, a couple of touches infield and then whips it crossfield, left to right to find Ince. Ince is just inside Preston territory, faced up by Brown. The ball steered infield by Hoylett towards the run of Yeardham, who is kind of like one of those underlapping centre-halves. He is used to playing as a full-back, really, but can play in the central defensive positions, and with Reading's centre-half injury crisis, he's needed to be able to do that. It will be he to take the throw, the captain. Near side the Reading right, forward 5 yards or so towards Mayte, trying to outmuscle Brady through the legs of Brown with a pass, and Mayte gets it back from Ince. He's kept the ball in play right in front of the assistant. Mayte driving towards the dead ball line, and eventually after Brown's tackle, goal kick is the decision.
Yeah, and probably not the right decision. I think that's either a free kick or a corner. Probably more likely a corner. I think Mayte may have got the last touch there, but looked to be a little bit of contact. And yeah, just waiting for it to come alive, really, this game, aren't we? It's almost like we were saying a few moments ago, Joe, whether one of the managers wants to be bold enough, probably not now, probably into the second half when they can make a bold formation change to say, do you know what, we're going to just pull you around, we're going to be a bit more aggressive and try and take maximum points. That said, we know how precious any point is in this league, especially when the two sides, Reading desperate for points and Preston on the road, a point is a good return, isn't it? So yeah. It's whether at this stage of the season they're willing to just be a little bit bold with their approach and try and take maximum points from tonight.
Well, Preston are used to goalless draws,
yes,
for sure. They had that remarkable run of them earlier on in this season when they started so well defensively but couldn't really score many themselves. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half on Talksport 2, and you won't be surprised to hear that it is goalless tonight. The fireworks going off in the background near Reading Town Centre. Bonfire night tomorrow. And Preston Northend have a free kick, throw rather, just shy of the halfway line. I would say lack of fireworks on the pitch, Sam Parker, but I don't think I can really say that with a straight face. The fans in front of us heading to get a half-time pie from the concourse. They've had enough of this first half as the ball is played back to Lindsay and square past the Story, and just 15 yards shy of the halfway line. Referee, quick look at his watch, got about 10 seconds to go. Pumped long by Potts, the flick further wide by Evans, skims off his forehead to find Brady. Brady near side touchline, driving into the penalty area, shooting right-footed. There's a save made by Lumley to parry it behind, and that is the very last action of the first half. Well, it took 46 minutes to have a serious effort on target. Lumley repelling that strike from Brady right with the very last kick of the opening 45 minutes here live on Talksport 2. Good goalkeeping, had to be alert because he'd had nothing to do up to that point. Freddie Woodman, the Preston goalkeeper, likewise. Both sides playoff contenders, only 2 points separating them before the start of the night. Very similar tactical setup, which Sam Parker and I have found fascinating at least, but not a great deal of goalmouth action, I have to say. At the break it is Reading 0, Preston Northend 0. Well, if they are going to challenge for promotion to the Premier League, they will certainly need to attack better, both sides, than they did in the first half. A first half very light on any sort of clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. As Preston Northend win a free kick straight away. Reading playing from right to left in the second half towards the rather sparsely populated Eamon Dolan stand behind the goal. Reading in their blue and white hooped shirts, white shorts and blue socks, as Rees looks to get through the middle for Preston Northend, but it's cleared away by Holmes, the Reading centre half. And Preston playing from left to right, all in bright yellow, towards the south stand that's split between home and away supporters. That's where the atmosphere has really been in the game so far. And 0-0 the score. I'll give you the two sides in full in just a moment. Under the floodlights here, we're sat high at the back of the main stand. just to the right of the halfway line with a steep drop to the pitch below. Preston with Potts in possession, Porter Johnson on the halfway line. His square ball is intercepted easily by Hendrick, and then Hendrick tackled back by Johnson, and now Potts can come forward on the near side. Great early ball towards Rees, into the penalty area, angle against him, can he spin away from Yeardon? He was all over Yeardon, and that will be a Reading free kick. Reading with Lumley in goal, Yeardon, who did very well just there, the skipper, Holmes and McIntyre the defenders, Hoylett and Rackman the wing-backs, Hendrick and Loom in midfield, Ince behind Mate and Carroll. The Reading subs, Buzanis, Long, Forner, Guinness-Walker, Zhao, Mbenge and Ajaria. And Preston Northend with Woodman in goals, Story, Lindsay and Hughes the defenders, Potts and Brady the wing-backs. Three in midfield, Ledson, Johnson and Brown, Evans and Rees up front, and the Preston subs, Cornell, Fernandez, Cunningham, McCann, Woodburn, Diaby and Maguire. And Preston, who haven't won here in just about 2 years, November 2020, when they came to the Select Car Leasing Stadium and put 3 past Reading without reply. A point tonight would not be good enough to take them into the top 6. They would stay outside it on goal difference. Preston Northend. Brown, the captain, in possession, halfway line, out to the far side, the Preston left, and dribbling back into his own territory is Brady, and it's swept crossfield by Brown from left to right, easy for Story, who's completely unchallenged, nobody in blue and white anywhere near him as he crosses halfway. Out to Potts, tattoos down his arms, 6'2", the right wing back, who has spent most of his career as an attacking midfield player, but has really thrived in this new role under Ryan Lowe. Ryan Lowe, the Preston manager, who is about 10 feet to the right of Paul Ince, his Reading counterpart. And both managers cut frustrated figures at times in the first half. It's Reading 0, Preston Northend 0 on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2, very early in the second half in what was an 8 o'clock kickoff. The ball is on the near side with Potts skipping in field and looking for a square pass, and Preston are having most of the possession in the early stages here. And Ledson gets it back from Evans. Evans had made the run forward, and Potts steers into the path of Rees, gets it back, Potts driving forward, blocked off by Holmes, loose ball reaches Johnson, central position, middle of the Reading half. Now Holmes takes over, works it wide to the left, and Brady chips it forward. Johnson can't control down at the corner of the 18-yard box. Hoylett with the sky blue boots on clears to find Ince back to Yeardon for Reading. He skips away from Brady and chips the ball high towards the halfway line. Andy Carroll chests it down, back to Tom Ince. Rare that we've really even mentioned the names of Andy Carroll or Yaku Mate in particular so far, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, they've not been able to really affect the game, those two, at all.
Evans might go for goal here for Preston. He slices it miles wide, so far wide it nearly went out for a corner kick, and that really sums up the attacking efforts of both teams so far. We've had one effort on target, that was right at the end of the first half. Brady's shot turned away by Lumley.
Yeah, I'd argue that might have been going wide as well, Joe, so I thought that surmised the first half well. Nice spell of possession there from Preston. They knocked it out really competently, side to side, but they're not hurting Reading. The midfield players have disappointed me so far. That's what they're missing, I would say.
Oh, backhanded by McIntyre is not good, and Rees was in and denied by a good save by Lumley, who spread himself at the feet of the big Danish striker as he bought out on goal. McIntyre's backheader was short. Lumley was alert to it, the goalkeeper turned it behind for a corner.
Well, he's made 2 brilliant runs, more than he did in the opening 45 minutes, Emil Rees, already, and very nearly got in. One was flagged for offside, and they're just chasing a lost cause. McIntyre's header weak, and he'll be disappointed with that. Could have gone round Lumley, potentially, just tried to prod it beyond him. Lumley making a really good stop, but potentially could have just shifted to the right-hand side with him and maybe had the unguarded net to find.
Corner for Preston Northend, their first of the game, 5 minutes into the second half, goalless at the Select Car Leasing Stadium. Under the floodlights here, several hundred Preston fans behind the goal, whipped in by Brady towards the near post, and flinging himself at it was Evans. It's headed away in the end by Mate, back defending for Reading. Nervy moments these for the home team. Brady's reverse cross, headed in! They've got the breakthrough! Preston Northend have scored, and it's Ched Evans glancing off the top of his head across the goalkeeper and into the far corner. What a cross from Robbie Brady, and Ched Evans, he's been doing it for so many years, a flicked header, and Lumley couldn't keep it out, and it's Reading 0, Preston Northend 1.
Well, Brady, first and foremost, has been the best attacking player on display by a distance. He's had quality throughout the evening where it's been lacking in other quarters quite majorly. But the first ball in there, the corner kick, I thought Evans had stolen the marks on Yeardom. So when the ball broke out, I was thinking, he'll be frustrated there, Evans. That was a good opportunity to get his head to the ball. When the second one comes in, the quality on it almost picks him out, Evans, at the near post, and he's timed his run to perfection. He knows that he just has to get the slightest of touches on that to guide it into the far corner. It's absolutely perfect, but all about that delivery from Brady, who's been excellent.
Well, it's Ched Evans' first goal in nearly a year, since the 27th of November 2021, and Preston get the reward for their fast start to the second half, and maybe now finally the game will really open up. Preston lead 1-0, and actually they are specialists in this sort of situation. They will now look to keep a 12th league clean sheet of the season so far. A goal in the FA Cup, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Morecambe 0. Alex Mighton has got the second goal for the home side, but Reading behind, and they haven't got started at all in the second half, Sam Parker.
No, that's the point, isn't it? Because I think Looms had good possession on a couple of occasions and just presented it to a Preston player. We had the back pass, the header from McIntyre, which led to that corner kick. So there's 3 occasions where they should have been in control of the situation, and they've given the onus to Preston. They've not started at all, so they can only have themselves to blame, really. But that said, it was a brilliant ball in from Robbie Brady. I mean, it's absolutely perfect, and when you've got in front of your marker, when that's in flight, it's an absolute dream for a striker, because your mind is made up by the trajectory and by the pace of that delivery, exactly what type of finish is required, and Ched Evans supplied it perfectly.
And Preston heading into the Championship playoffs. Ledson with a sweeping high ball into the penalty area, headed back across goal and cleared away by Andy Carroll. Back into the penalty area towards Story for Preston. This time it's Mate leaping to nod it away. And head tennis on the edge of the Reading box. Eventually it's Hendrick who flicks it clear to the halfway line. But Preston in this away kit, all yellow, dominating Reading here, and Reading can't really get a foot on the ball. It's Reading 0, Preston Northend 1, 8 minutes into the second half. You're listening to your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Tomorrow on Talksport, we're at Bramall Lane for Sheffield United against Burnley, Third against Top in the second tier. Commentary from 12:30, then at 3, Manchester City against Fulham. On Sunday, Talksport will bring you Chelsea against Arsenal, and on Monday, Bracknell against Ipswich in the first round of the FA Cup is a Talksport 2 commentary, so not too far from here. We'll be in Berkshire for that one. And Preston continue to dominate, and Reading have given no response at all. Chasing shadows, the team in blue and white. Preston go back to Woodman. The goalkeeper has not had a save of any note to make in the game so far, and it can't be long the way this is going, Sam, before Paul Ince thinks about changes, surely.
Yeah, and when we're talking about a game and just over a game and a half now where they haven't scored and not looked like scoring either, really, Reading. So there's 3 subs weren't warming up already, and I think they were sent out immediately when the ball nestled in the far corner from Evans' header. So I would imagine it's coming sooner rather than later, because there's nothing within the performance to suggest, especially since the start of this second half, that they are going to start creating chances.
Well, they can't get the ball up to the front too, and they've had no territory in the game really whatsoever in this second half, as Woodman clatters the ball high and long, the Preston goalkeeper. The flick on is won by the goal scorer Evans, and now Johnson out to the near side, and Potts' pass, or attempted a pass in field, is intercepted. Then a slide tackle by Ledson on halfway, won the ball fair and square. Potts looked like he was tripped by Loom. Reading frustrations around the ground are really going to start to increase, and maybe they're increasing on the pitch, because Loom is yellow carded for that challenge, and Preston, leading by a goal to 0, have the free kick.
Yeah, I mean, Ajaria played in midfield the other day, different type of player to Loom, but that would be an obvious change for me right now, considering how Paul Loom has been since the restart. Paul Ince has, like as you said in the first half, Joe, he turned away in disbelief a couple of the passes, the one that went into touch, and then the ball he gave away at the start of the second half, and now he's been yellow carded as well.
Reading heading for 1 win in 8. There's still a long way to go. Not reached the hour mark just yet. A flicked header out of play by Brady, whose ball in for that opening goal was just a sumptuous thing of beauty. It was in-swinging, left-footed, whipped, very flat, so hard to defend. And just a glance off the head of Evans, who, as I say, has been looking for a goal. And Sam Parkin, you know what it's like for a striker. If you can't find the back of the net, that will be such a boost for him.
Oh, huge. And I never really buy into that cliche, Joe, one goes in off your backside, you're up and running again. Never really happened like that for me in my career. You want to score a good goal. You want to score a good striker's goal in essence, and that gives you your confidence. And of course playing well helps, but that will do him the world of good, because it's a really well taken goal. But don't take anything away from the delivery. I mean, it almost, when he's shaping up to deliver that, I think as a striker you know what Robbie Brady's intending to do with that. You know it's going to be whipped. You know it's going to be whipped across the 6-yard box with pace, just for a first time finish. So it's as much about the ball as it is the finish. Definitely, it's a brilliant bit of football.
Here is Holmes for Reading, midway inside his own half the field. Holmes goes crossfield to the far side, the right, chested down by Andy Eardham. And nobody in Preston yellow going anywhere towards him. Eardham's got acres of time and space to ping in across, high on the diagonal towards Carroll. They've dealt with Carroll brilliantly so far, Preston Northend. Potts does that easily. Reading are going to make a triple change in a couple of minutes. I think Lucas Zhao is among those ready to come on. Here is Ince, near side. First time left-footed cross is a good one, flicked away by Liam Lindsay. Not further clear by Brown. It's going to go out of play for a Reading throw on the far side of the field. Very little sign of Reading creating anything though. And here come the changes that realistically we expected. Zhao onto the field and Carroll is going to come off, so that's a straight swap. Tyrese Forner also onto the field. Mamadou Loum on a yellow card is leaving the field. And Tyrese Forner, who is on a season-long loan from Nottingham Forest. Lucas Zhao, who we know when he's fit can certainly score goals. And the final Reading change, well, it's both strikers off. Mate going off as well, and Shane Long, who returns to the club where he started his English League career in the summer, is the third Reading man to come off. So Carroll, Mate and Loum off, Forner, Long and Zhao on Sam Parkin. Reading 1-0 down. Yeah, had to make the changes quick before the crowd start to turn. They've not been able to fashion any type of opportunities. A little bit surprised that Ajari is not one to come on, but maybe got a little bit of an injury problem and also not been at his brilliant best so far this season. So yeah, this is a bold move from Paul Ince. Let's see if the things turn in Reading's favour. We haven't yet had an hour, but Reading haven't yet had a shot on target. Eardham gets the dead ball line. Was he fouled by Brady? Tracking back, assistant flags. It will be a Reading free kick. Dangerous position, about 7 or 8 yards infield from the corner flag. And here come the centre halves up from the back, and Lucas Zhao will be there as well. He still managed double figures last season despite missing the whole first half of the campaign with injury, and over 20 the season before that. I mean, Reading won't mind who scores as long as they can potentially get themselves back on level terms here. But it is Tom Ince over it, right down by the dead ball line at the Eamon Dolan end of the ground. It's lots of empty seats behind that goal. Whipped in by Ince, high to the far post. Potts will smuggle it away. Junior Hoylett trying to reach the loose ball, gets to it near side, pops it back to Baba Rackman. First time floated cross, high into the box, headed away, comes back out towards the middle of the Preston half. Eardham urged to shoot, thinks better of it, and that I think is the sensible decision. And Ince has to go back to the halfway line, and Rackman again. Preston holding a very stout defensive shape. Lucas Zhao plucks it out of the air, corner of the box, but the offside flag is up, and well, we're going to see now, aren't we, Sam Parkin, just how hard Preston are to break down. Yeah, I mean, I think throughout the piece tonight, they've just absolutely relished the threat, thwarting the threat of Andy Carroll. Lindsay in particular, I mean, he has been a rock back there. He's not been deterred by the
the reputation, the threat of Andy Carroll. He's just rolled his sleeves up and been incredibly dominant defensively, well aided by Story and Hughes either side of him, but they've not looked panicked at all. They look ridiculously comfortable. It's up to Long and Zhao in particular now, just to try and make a few more inroads.
Hereford 1, Portsmouth 2 in the first round of the FA Cup. Colby Bishop has turned it around for Portsmouth. They were 1-0 down in the first half at one stage to the National League North side. Reading 0, Preston Northend 1 here in the Championship, live on Talksport 2. We're not just about the football, we've got the autumn internationals for you, the Autumn Nations Series on Talksport 2 again this weekend, including England against Argentina and Wales against New Zealand, and then of course the small match of a World Cup which gets underway in about 2.5 weeks' time. All 64 matches on the network. Baba Rahman looking to cross from the near side to left for Reading. The triple substitution has given them a little bit of impetus back, but Preston still look formidable defensively. Evans wants a free kick, doesn't get it. Baba Rahman plays it infield, taken up by Ince, who sweeps it wide to the right hand side, and Hoylett. The Reading fans urging them to shoot whenever they've got the ball anywhere near the goal. Zhao can't bring it down, cleared away only halfway by Johnson. McIntyre to whip in a high cross towards Zhao, headed away once again, this time by Hughes. Comes back to Ince, tries a 1-2 with Zhao. The layoff is poor, Ince gets to it, but then he's robbed by Rees. It's gone out of play and it's a Reading throw. Reading finally maybe starting to build a bit of momentum in the attack. It's like they've waited in the second half until they were 1-0 down to start playing. Why is it taking so long, Sam Parkin?
Yeah, there's a little bit of intensity about the game, but you get that naturally, don't you, when you make a triple change? The players have that little buzz, that spring in the step, the players coming onto the pitch, and Preston, as we know, so comfortable, so competent in this position, they'll be happy to sit in now and soak up what Reading inevitably are going to try and throw at them, and then the space should open up for them on the counter, making a change themselves now.
Yep, the fourth official's board is up, and the number up is that of Daniel Johnson, who hasn't seen it, I don't think, just yet.
He's seen it, Joe, don't worry. He's seen it.
That's the experience of somebody who's played the game. And Daniel Johnson,
he's not going to be happy.
And say, what, me? My number?
Yeah, he's not going to be happy, I don't think. Good. It was a big chance for him tonight, I think. So to be withdrawn, goal to the good, 63 minutes, won't be best pleased, but not probably fully up to speed because of that lack of game time. Ben
Woodburn, the former Liverpool player, is going to come on as his replacement. Sam Parkin is with me tonight, the former Ipswich and Swindon striker. Dan Windle as well. Dan has a long journey tomorrow morning to Sheffield for our Talksport Championship coverage. A big game at Bramall Lane at home to Burnley. I think that is the game of the season so far in this league. And Preston are quietly making real progress under Ryan Lowe this season, heading for 3 straight wins. And Reading just looks so flat and lacking in ideas, but then again, it is so hard to score and create chances against this Preston side.
Yeah, they almost do this to you, don't they, I suppose,
Take
Preston?
The life out of you.
They do, yeah. And you fall into, I suppose, playing the same way a little bit, but I mean, it's not overly back to front, is it? Preston, they try and play, I think, when it gets into the forward areas. Don't take too many risks though in coming out of their shape, and it's working for them no end.
Ledson is midway inside opposition territory for Preston, out to the near side, the right, and Woodburn inside right channel gets it back from Emil Rees. Reading players in front of him, and Woodburn knocks it straight out of play. Well, you said one goal may well be enough, even with 25 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Reading, who have the worst defence of any of the sides in the Championship's top 14 coming into the weekend. Defensive concerns, they kind of blow hot and cold, don't they, Reading, a lot of the time?
Looks like the midfield's been a little bit flipped. Hendrick's going to be just a sitter by himself now, and Ince and Fornah are going to have the licence to get forward, so it's a little bit of an alteration from Paul Ince, but very minor, just pushing one of the midfield players slightly forward, so playing with 2/8 now.
A little flick by Fornah infield, high towards Lucas Zhao, the number 9, but cleared away by Preston Northend. It's come back to the near side of McIntyre, steers it infield to Zhao. In a crossing position, plays it back 15 yards to Hendrick. Now to the halfway line is Holmes. Holmes' first time left-footed ball out to the right, and Yeardham midway inside the Preston Northend half. Reading just trying to gain some territory, gain a bit of momentum in the game. Hoylett infield to Ince, corner of the penalty area, back up wide. Hoylett's first time cross, Zhao with the header over the top. Well, that really is the first chance that Reading have created in the game, and we're now into the match's final quarter.
It's better, isn't it, because it's a much better delivery from the right hand side. It's kind of punched in, bit of spin on the ball, but it just makes it a one-on-one, a physical battle between Zhao and Story, and I think Story probably just enough to make sure that Zhao can't direct that header onto the target. But yeah, better and optimism that there's more to come.
A good threat from that sort of range, Lucas Zhao, but Preston still with that single goal advantage. And Robbie Brady, who set up the opener actually from the right wing, that in-swinging left-footed cross, is back in his regular position on that far side. He's going to take a throw right in front of the Reading fans in the East Stand. And the supporters behind the goal are getting particularly frustrated, those Reading fans now. And one of them is waving a blue and white flag. All a bit flat though for the home side. A header clear by Forner for Reading. Out to the right back position. Hendrick just scoops it long controls. Shane Long, he's just come on and tussling in between two yellow shirts. Preston quick to industriously win it back. Forner equally sliding in on Woodburn, who, having just come on, maybe a bit slow to get up to the pace of the game. And then Hendrick with a slide tackle, eventually falls to Zhao, back to Ince, 20 yards from goal, wriggling his way into the penalty area, and Brady back, can't make the tackle. Hoylett's got it, right hand edge of the 18-yard area, back to Hendrick, who tried a first time cross, and wasn't he charged down ever so quickly there, Jeff Hendrick, and out of play it goes for a Reading first. Ched Evans tracking back the goal scorer. Yeardham on the overlap, down by the dead ball line, dinks in the delivery, headed away by Lindsay, comes down to Hendrick. Might he hit this on the half volley? He does, it's blocked. Now Zhao, back to goal, spinning, twisting, turning, somehow keeps possession. He's surrounded by Preston defenders. He did brilliantly to hold on to it in the first instance. Preston get it away, but Reading come back at them. Infield to Ince, 25 yards out. The curler's blocked by the head of Ledson. This is where Preston are so effective. This is why they've been so difficult to beat over the course of the season so far. And they smuggle it up to the halfway line and away from danger again, Sam Parkin.
You're right, because how many times in the last little passenger play was there a yellow shirt in the right place just to make a block or get a foot on the ball? They're under pressure now, but they're not rocking. It's not desperate. They all know their jobs.
Yeardham down by the dead ball line again. He's evaded the attention of Hughes. He's gone down. That looks like a penalty to me. It is. Yeardham racing into the box, had his heels clipped, and that is probably the easiest decision that the referee's going to make all night.
Looked like a penalty, didn't it? It looked like he was just running out of pitch, Yeardham, and does well just to get his toe on the ball, just as it looks to be running over the dead ball line. Is it Brady with a challenge? Yeah, it looked a fraction late. There's not too many complaints, is there, from players in yellow? Looks to be the right decision.
Well, the Reading fans behind the goal are sprinting towards the front row to try and get the best possible view of this penalty kick that Lucas Zhao is going to take. With 20 minutes to go, and Reading have been so poor going forward tonight, but almost out of nothing they've got an opportunity to get themselves an equaliser here. And it's Zhao placing the ball on the spot as we welcome listeners from Talksport. Reading 0, Preston Northend 1, 20 minutes to go in a championship encounter, low on clear-cut chances, but Reading with an opportunity from the spot to draw themselves level. It's the number 9 who's just come on, stepping up, slow run up, right-footed, smashes it into the bottom corner. Woodman went the right way, but he was never going to save that, and Reading are level, and we're on for a grandstand finish on Talksport 2. It's Reading 1, Preston Northend 1.
Yeah, no chances taken with that one. Absolutely pinged past Freddie Woodman in the Preston goal, and I wouldn't say they deserve it, but Lucas Zhao has made a difference. Just his presence and his quick feet, his ability to keep the ball in the final third when there's bodies around him, trying to get blocks in for Preston, so they've been able to maintain some pressure, get the ball into the final third and keep it up there, and that sustained pressure led to the penalty, and they don't probably deserve it, but Reading level.
Download the Talksport app to keep up with all of the action as we go into the last 19 minutes here. Reading 1, Preston Northend 1. And it really is all to play for. Forward by Hendrick up the middle, and Zhao will chase. It takes a bounce and into the gloves of the goalkeeper. The Select Car Leasing Stadium much more lively now, and it's just classic, isn't it, Sam Parker? We've all seen it so many times, the way that a goal can change a game. Preston were cruising at 1-0, and they know how to manage games in this sort of situation, but Reading have got a lifeline, and now, who knows, it could go either way.
Yeah, I said it, didn't I, just prior to the goal. They looked composed, they looked comfortable, they looked incredibly well drilled, Preston. I didn't probably see that happening so quickly. The pressure was building, but it's an individual error, isn't it, from Brady and Yeardon. Let's give him credit, because he has raided on occasion down the right-hand side and been that extra man.
Here is Baba Rackman raiding inside left channel, steps infield, in between two yellow shirts. One of them got a tackle in, it was Woodburn, and it's swept clear, high up into the air by Story, and away from danger. Well, we waited such a long time for the game to come to life. It partially did after the Preston goal, but now it really has, and now the supporters are getting involved all around the ground. Reading fans away to the right, which ironically is the opposite end to the direction their team were attacking, making a wall of noise. Here is Ince, yellow boots on, midway inside the Preston half, forward towards Yeardham. Yeardham shrugged aside by a combination of two for the away team, and now they can carry the ball forward up over the halfway line. It's Evans in possession, sweeping ball high towards the left. That's an easy header away by Ince. It was aimed at Andrew Hughes, but he was never going to reach it. And now darting up the middle is Shane Long, tackled well by Ledson, sliding in. Loose ball falls though for Ince. Ince now at pace down the far side, the right. He's got Hoylett on the overlap. Ince infield towards Long, and Long, well, the pass didn't reach him before it was intercepted. And now Woodburn, facing his own goal, goes back to Brown. Brown with a back pass to the goalkeeper, didn't want it there. Freddie Rudman had to hammer it clear first time, right-footed. Then the header away by Andy Yeardham. It came off Emil Rees. It's a Reading throw. Preston are going to make a change. Maybe there's concern that they've lost the momentum a bit here, and it's Emil Rees who is coming off, and on in his place is the Irishman Sean Maguire, who actually, like Ched Evans had been up until he scored earlier, Maguire hasn't scored in just over a year or so. Has had a tough time with injuries. Well, can you call it now, Sam Parker?
Well, Reading look the stronger outfit all of a sudden, don't they? The crowd's up, and yeah, they've just been able to keep it in the final third, haven't they, for sustained periods, and that didn't happen at all throughout the opening hour of this game. It was coming straight back. I mean, if that's his front pairing moving forward, Paul Ince, I will be absolutely flabbergasted, Mate and Carroll, because they've offered next to nothing, I would say, as a pair tonight. So easy to defend against. Shane Long's not probably had a touch as of yet, but just Zhao's sheer presence, I think, has affected Reading more than anything.
Hendrick gliding forward up the middle, pass to the right and Ince, further wide is Yeardham, ball infield first time to Hoylett, corner of the 18-yard box, Preston with just about everybody back, but Ince has skinned the defender, Ince into the box, touch was a little heavy. Robbie Brady this time makes a fair challenge. It was Brady who gave away the penalty kick, and a high ball up to the halfway line, well controlled by Maguire, who's only just come on. First touch finds Potts raiding down the near side the right, he's always dangerous in this sort of position. Can he get the cross? And he's being held up by Baba Rackman at the expense of a Preston Northend corner. 15 minutes to go. Well, we didn't see this sort of pace and tempo to the game coming, certainly not at half time.
Yeah, really good from Potts, and yeah, I've liked him again tonight because he's played so much football in the middle of the pitch. His choice of pass is excellent, I think, from a wide starting position from the wing-back role. His selection, excellent, puts good pace on the pass into people, invariably he makes good decisions, and that was really good down the right-hand side. He looked second favourite to me, but get beyond the initial Reading defender and then get the deflection off Rackman to get the corner was really good work.
Hereford 1, Portsmouth 3 in the first round of the FA Cup. It's 1-1 here in the Championship. on Talksport 2. Brady set up one already tonight for Preston. It's an in-swinging left-footed corner, high to the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Lucas Zhao through a crowd. Ledson tries to lay it off back to the near side, the right. Brady will keep it in, but had to rush almost towards halfway. Whips up the cross, high and deep. Story trying to win it, headed away powerfully by Holmes. Preston have got it back though. It's Sean Maguire, corner of the penalty area, plays it infield to Ben Woodburn. Woodburn's low shot, blocked, turned away, I think by Holmes. It might have been Hendrick who got that block in. Either way, Reading now looking to burst forward on the counter with a substitute. Forner, his pass infield to Ince, who is caught straight away by Ledson with a late challenge. And well, the referee has been consistent tonight, and Ledson is indeed yellow carded, and Reading have themselves a free kick. Completely different feel about the atmosphere since that Reading equaliser.
Yeah, just getting stretched the game, isn't it? Good play from Forner, the substitute, and that was I think he committed himself to the challenge, Ledson. It was only going to end one way, wasn't it? Reading on the counter-attack, getting into a good situation. Game had to go dead, really, from a Preston point of view.
Here's Tom McIntyre, hugging the near side touchline, the centre half. It's the ball rather fired high up towards Yeadham on halfway, and Yeadham has given possession away to Alan Brown. Brown, the Preston captain, will win a throw. Will he over the halfway line? No. It's gone the way of Reading. Ryan Lowe, the Preston boss, can't believe it. Arms outstretched, looks towards the fourth official. A long way away from where it was on the far side, and it's not going to change the decision. And the Yeadham to take the throw. Reading fans will have to wait a long time to see their team in action at the Select Car Leasing Stadium again. This is their last home game before the break for the World Cup. And Preston, well, do they suddenly look a little more vulnerable defensively, maybe? I guess you'd expect that at this point, having just conceded an equaliser. Reading Crow, middle of the Preston half, beneath the floodlights and at the base of the Sir John Medeski stand, which is mostly full of Reading supporters. Yeadham back into his own half, the ball to Holmes and a square pass to McIntyre. McIntyre looks up and is able to run forward into space, into the opposition territory. Babarakman reverse pass up the touchline towards Long. Lovely flick by Forner, back to Long, left on the edge of the 18-yard box, teases it forward to Babarakman. Babarakman to swing in the cross, it's blocked at the near post. Appeals for handball from the Reading fans behind the goal, none from the players on the field, which probably tells you all you need to know. Potts has got it back. Great ball over halfway for Preston to find Woodburn. Woodburn's only got Maguire to aim it in the middle. Woodburn has drifted infield up to the edge of the 18-yard area, and he's held up and he's taken too long. Goes back out wide to Evans though. Evans is going to drive into the box. The angle tight, he shoots! It's in again! Evans at the double! And Preston are back in front! Well, he waited a year before he could score again, and two have come along in one half, and surely now that could be the winner for Preston Northend. They don't often lose leads twice. It opened up for him, might have taken a slight nick off McIntyre on its way beyond the goalkeeper, but it's Ched Evans' goal, and it's Preston back in front and heading for the championship playoffs again. Reading 1, Preston Northend 2.
Well, he deserves a little bit of luck because it's a brilliant strike. He makes his mind up. That's exactly what he's going to do when he takes receipt of the ball. As you said, Woodburn looked like the momentum had gone out of the move and Reading had players back, but when he takes the ball right hand side of the 18-yard box, steadies himself, one thought in his mind, he knows exactly what type of execution he's looking for there, almost cuts across the ball, aiming for that far post. Yes, it takes a little nick to take it into the side netting, but credit the striker, and he has looked transformed, Joe. I was just thinking about his last few bits of hold-up play, immaculate. Exactly what a good goal can do for you. The confidence seeping through him. Really well taken second goal.
He has actually been booked for his celebration, Ched Evans. He ran into the Preston Northend supporters at the front of the stand. A jubilation. It's been such a long time without scoring, and the 2 goals in the second half here. Preston in front again, and changes afoot for both teams. The Reading substitution sees Babarakman go off and Nesta Guinness-Walker come on, the former AFC Wimbledon defender who joined the club in the summer. And Preston going to take off their captain here, Alan Brown leaving the field, and Ali McCann, who is always a very dependable figure, will come on. It did take a touch off McIntyre, but only really a glancing touch, Sam, and I don't think it really made any difference to the goalkeeper. But maybe saw it late, Lumley.
Possibly. It kind of skipped up, didn't it, just before it kind of passed Lumley. But I just think, you know, to get that idea clear in your mind as the ball's kind of travelling towards you, this is what I'm going to do. It was the right decision. It was clever play, and then he got the execution to go with it as well. And he's looked like a proper centre forward in this second half since he's got the goal. His hold up play's been really good. Just take it back a little bit earlier. The pass again, Potts, wasn't it, into Maguire, or was it Woodburn? But that selection once more, the execution from Brad Potts, absolutely perfect, and it turned it kind of injected the momentum into that move. It was a brilliant pass, and in turn Ched Evans has supplied a fantastic finish.
Reading 1, Preston Northend 2. 8 minutes plus stoppage time to go here in Berkshire. Paul Ince not happy with what he thinks is Preston time wasting. Header away by McIntyre for Reading. Preston through. I do think Preston, though, on the balance of play, Sam, do deserve their lead.
Yeah, I mean, Reading had that little spell, didn't they? But they've been really comfortable. It's, you know, one little, I wouldn't say little, actually, it's quite a major mistake, isn't it, from Robbie Brady? But other than that, they've been able to marshal the back line and deal with everything Reading have thrown at them to this point.
Bouncing ball towards Lucas Zhao, headed away by Liam Lindsay. It's come back to Hoylett. Hoylett 25 yards out, looked like it might open up for him there. Zhao quickly wide, far side of the field, whipped in by Ince with a cross high towards Shane Long, headed away by Jordan Storey this time. And can Preston keep the lead on this occasion? As I said, they don't often lose leads, and certainly not twice in a match. And they have won a free kick now, 10 yards or so shy of the halfway line. Sheffield Wednesday have beaten Morecambe by 2-0 in the first round of the FA Cup. Hereford 1, Portsmouth 3 is the latest score. That one's not far off finishing. Remember, Monday night, live from the FA Cup, Bracknell against Ipswich Town on Talksport 2, exclusive to National Radio. And forward by Storey, downfield for Preston, high towards Sean Maguire, and his flick and drifts straight to Andy Yeardon. Well, can Reading summon up an equaliser again? They certainly do look more dangerous with the new front two. High ball towards Long, headed away by Storey. Brady will collect in a left back position. Infield to Ali McCann. Good feet from McCann. Forward to the halfway line, gets it back Maguire. Now McCann over into the Reading territory. He's got 3 forward here in support. McCann surely tripped there by Yeardon. The referee does not give Preston a free kick. That was a risky challenge, a hook of the leg from Yeardon. He was expecting a free kick to come, and I think half the crowd were too. But it didn't. And Reading seeking an equaliser are trying to get back on the attack. And Forner racing over the halfway line. Good pace. Out to the near side, first real touch for Guinness Walker. And forward to Forner again, 10 yards from the corner flag. He's sandwiched in between 2 yellow shirts, and he's still got the cross in towards the edge of the box, steered away by Ali McCann. Horner, the Forest low knees look bright since coming on.
Yeah, he's done okay. Nice little touch previously. He got a pitch invader.
Oh, there's a young child who's run onto the pitch for some reason, and almost as quickly as he's run onto it, he's gone off. It's strange to see. He's getting a quick word from Paul Ince. Anyway, Reading have a throw. Long throw to the box from Guinness Walker, headed away at the near post. And the FA, the EFL, the Premier League have got a zero tolerance to pitch invaders, and it's never something we would encourage. Here goes Maguire, steering the ball infield towards Evans, who's on a hat-trick now, intercepted by Holmes though. Reading 1, Preston 2. Ince, inside right channel, about 25 yards from goal, now driving down the edge of the 18-yard area, but he's tackled again by Robbie Brady. Back to Andrew Hughes, hoists it high into the evening sky, up towards Maguire. He's done a good job since he's come on. He's being blatantly held by Holmes, and he's somehow managed to hold on to possession, and then he's found from behind by Holmes. Well, that was a miraculous piece of physical strength there from Maguire, much smaller than Holmes. And was the referee not looking at that point, Sam Parkin, not to give a free kick initially for that?
It's just quite amusing. For about 10 seconds he held Holmes off and then wriggled away from him and then put his studs on the ball again and went, do you know what, I'm just going to pin you for another few seconds. And then Holmes had another swipe at him and the referee decided that one was a free kick. And I mean, that's been a big difference in the second half. The front players, I mean Evans obviously in particular, but Maguire since he's come on have just got hold of the ball a lot better than their counterparts in red and blue and white.
That's the voice of Sam Parkin, who had a great career in the AFL. Number 9, a former striker, and it's been a tale of the number 9s tonight. Evans with 2 goals for Preston and Lucas Zhao sandwiched in between for Reading. It's the visitors who lead. Potts lofting it forward down the right touchline, headed away by McIntyre on the near side of the field. Another clearing header from the Reading centre half. The flick forward by Forner can't be collected by Long, and the free kick given Preston's way. Foul by Long on Jordan Storey. Those 3 Preston centre halves are rock solid, and Storey in particular. Evans is down by the corner flag. Well, there's 3.5 minutes plus stoppage time to go, so a long time, and he's going to go and time waste at this point. And Guinness Walker has won it back and won a throw for Reading. Reading fans, who are only a few feet below us, in fact, in the row below us, are starting to get really frustrated. Urging Guinness Walker to get the ball forward. Will Paul Ince be concerned by the performance, though?
I think he will be, yeah. I think he will be. I think they've improved, haven't they, the last 15 minutes or so, but Preston have found a way to get back in the ascendancy, in essence. So it was only a brief kind of spell, wasn't it, where Reading got back on top. I'd just be a little bit concerned with not changing anything, too much. Maybe something more drastic it calls for now. When you're chasing the game 5 minutes ago, they played the same way, cancelled each other out for large portions of this game, and Reading look like they're going to escape with the maximum points. So we'll wait and see if Paul Ince can maybe do something, affect something from the touchline.
Zhao inside right channel, infield to Ince, shooting chance! Just past the far post, hit low and hard and true by Tom Ince. It certainly had Woodman, the goalkeeper, scrambling. I'm not sure he would have got there, but it was just a yard or so wide, and it stays 2-1 to Preston Northend.
Yeah, and he couldn't commit early, could he? Woodman had to wait and see which direction the shot was taking. Lack of backlift. It's really close. It's a stinging drive, isn't it, from Tom Ince, and only misses by a foot, doesn't it? Yeah, Woodman, desperate dive to his left hand side, wouldn't have got there
because it was fast for him, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was too well struck.
Has been in decent goal scoring form of late, Tom Ince, and Reading, that was better, but they've only got 90 seconds plus stoppage time to save a point. Otherwise it'll be a 3rd home league defeat of the season. 1 win in 8, remember. And so they started the season really well, but you maybe think, Sam, 1 win in 2, 3 maybe is a blip, but 1 win in 8, that is a concerning run of form.
It is, yeah. It is definitely. Bristol City, wasn't it, here, who have not been as consistent as they were early part of the season. So
yeah, that was the only win.
It's a little bit of a concern, isn't it?
And Preston have got themselves a free kick. They look as such a streetwise side, Preston Northend. Brad Potts will take it. It's just inside the Reading half, and he's in no great rush to do so. Last minute of normal time. 2-1 to Preston. And Talksport 2. Game day back on the network tomorrow. Talksport for Sheffield United against Burnley at 12:30, followed by Manchester City against Fulham. And all the goals as they go in from elsewhere. Big FA Cup weekend, the first round. And Reading have a goal kick. Lumley's taken it very quickly to find Holmes. He's just outside his own penalty area. And forward to Forner, 10 yards shy of the halfway line, and Reading not with any great urgency just at the moment, but Yedom has it over the halfway line. Yedom forward pass, the flick by Long, who hasn't been effective since coming on, and that is straight through to Freddie Woodman. All eyes on the 4th official. A steep drop down to the touchline below us, but I can see several Reading fans near our commentary position heading away from the stadium now. 6 added minutes. 6. Well, we've had a lot of substitutions and we have had 3 goals, but I'm just trying to work out, Sam, where that's come from.
I don't think there's been an injury stoppage, has there?
No. Well, they want more drama, don't they? with the crowd here, so maybe they'll get it. Corner, left of centre, 25 yards out, onto his right foot, thought about curling one, now back onto his left, back onto his right, shoots! Straight at Woodman, who just patted it down and then gathered up the loose ball. Now, of course, the officials will give whatever time they think is appropriate, and that is fair enough, and certainly, seeing 6 minutes, as I say, the crowd will like it, or maybe the Preston fans won't, but the majority in the Select Car Leasing Stadium certainly will, as they look to spur on Reading to a very late equaliser. Poor clearance by Woodman, straight out of play, and it's a Reading throw, just shy of the halfway line. And Guinness Walker takes it, back to McIntyre. McIntyre feeds the ball to the feet of Holmes. Holmes sweeps it on, forward to Yeardham. Big amount of space to dart into, not a yellow shirt anywhere near him. Yeardham has made up ground, finds Hoylett, level with the edge of the penalty area. Got three to aim at in the middle, including Zhao, Ince and Long. Crossing by Hoylett towards the near post, headed away by Ali McCann. A throw to Reading, down by the corner flag. There are plenty of Reading fans leaving early, but there's still only a goal in it. Crossed by Yeardham, steered away by Hughes on the volley. 90 seconds through, the six at it. It's come back to Hoylett. Hoylett's cross over the head of Long, not far over his head. Flicked clear by Ledson, headed down by Hendrick. It's come for Ince, juggles it over the shoulders of one defender, but not beyond Liam Lindsay, who swipes at the clearance right-footed. It slices up into the air, and Reading have it back straight away. Yeardham, though, at walking pace. Infield to Hendrick, and Preston have got everybody virtually back behind the ball here, Sam Parkin. Can they see it out?
Well, yeah, they're putting pressure, they're putting balls in, being defended well to this point. That bit of skill from Forner a few moments ago was really easy on the eye. Lovely little bit of play and released the shot.
Hoylett edge of the box, trying to dribble away from Ali McCann, who's sticking to him like glue. And 10 in yellow, plus the goalkeeper now behind the ball for Preston. 2.5 into the 6 minutes of added time. Reading 1, Preston Northend 2. McIntyre urged to shoot from 25 yards, but he's got a sea of defenders in front of him. There's no space for Reading here. Might be a bit of space for Holmes to go for it from 40 yards. Blocked off by Lindsay. Can Preston counter? Maguire scoops it high up towards Woodburn on the halfway line. Reading pushing everybody forward, and they do risk leaving gaps. Halfway through stoppage time, it's with Forner. Corner the 18-yard box. Back up wide is Hoylett. Hoylett playing as an inverted winger. Deep cross, headed away, comes out. Hendrick on the volley, slices it well wide.
Yeah, Preston with a good opportunity to counter there. There was just too much loft on the pass, wasn't there, for Woodburn, who would have been in almost on goal, just advancing into the Reading half. Built again down the left-hand side. The riposte from Reading. Junior Hoylett loves that position, just coming infield on his right side, but couldn't really pick out a teammate. Hendrick with a speculative effort from distance, way wide of the target, and Ryan Lowe breathes a sigh of relief down there in the technical area. He's been becoming more and more frantic the last few minutes, but almost there now.
Preston closing in on what would be an 8th win of the championship season, home and away. They have a home game against Millwall to come before the break for the World Cup. They are in very healthy form. They're heading up into the championship playoffs as it stands. We've got 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. Reading 2-1 down at home. Guinness Walker with the throw for them, but it's a long way from the halfway line. The left back position. Potts did wrestle Zhao to the ground there. Referee gives no free kick. It's come back to Ledson, who knocks it long. Headed away by Guinness Walker. Reading needs to get a foot on the ball. And Shane Long can't do that on halfway. Lucas Zhao can, just inside his own half. It's not forward towards Forner. Held it up cleverly for Zhao. Tripped by Potts. Blatant free kick. That'll be a yellow card for Brad Potts. And Reading, with less than 90 seconds to go, are going to send just about everybody forward. And Joe Lumley is asking whether he can go up the goalkeeper. He's making a move to halfway. Not got the call from Paul Ince to do so just yet. Now he gets the call. Joe Lumley, the goalkeeper in red, darting forward. A figure you can spot from a mile off. And Reading will have no goalkeeper here. It is their last chance. Lumley's forward for a free kick that's just inside Preston territory. McIntyre will take it. He'll pump it long, high up towards the edge of the box. Lumley among those challenging for it. Preston get it away. The ball thundered clear up to halfway. Lumley's jogged back towards the halfway line. Reading have it again. 45 seconds now. Cross in from Forner. Chested down by Long. Hendrick edge of the box. Was he fouled? Well, he was caught very late. David Webb, though, says no free kick was their contact, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, I don't think it's a foul. I think that he's recognised there that the ball's just getting away from him. He can only just prod it towards a teammate, kind of into a dangerous area. There is a challenge that comes in from a Preston player, but I think Jeff Hendrick knows that he's up against keeping the ball there. The right decision in my mind.
Clearance by Woodman, the goalkeeper. We are into the final 10 seconds. Preston lead 2-1. Held up by Ched Evans, who scored both goals. Reading have it inside their own half, and a miscued clearance by Holmes. Chance Maguire for Preston. Angled very tight inside the penalty area. Shot into the side netting. That will probably just about be that. Couldn't score from there, Maguire. Lumley will clear it long. All eyes on the referee. Looks at his watch and blows the full-time whistle. Another big win for Preston Northend. Is Ryan Lowe conjuring up something special for the Lily-Whites? Preston Northend, who've never played in the Premier League, they haven't been in the top flight since the early 1960s, but tonight they go into the Championship playoff positions. Could that long run without top flight football maybe come to an end this season? There is a long way to go, but they are showing signs of getting there. Reading beaten again, 1 win in 8 now for Paul Ince's team. Their slump in form continues. They deserved really to lose on the balance of play. 2 goals for Ched Evans for Preston. Hadn't scored in a year or so. Took them beautifully. Wonderful cross by Brady for the first. Lucas Zhao then equalised with a penalty for Reading after Brady's foul on Andy Yeardham. But Evans and Preston not to be denied. He got his second from the angle with 11 minutes to go, and that in the end was enough. It finishes in the Friday Night Football on Talksport 2. Reading 1, Preston Northend 2.